Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Wanda. Hi. In this video, I'll be creating some pins using printable shrink sheets. These come in white, translucent, and glow in the dark. For this project, I uploaded my files from Canva. After selecting my elements, I made sure to have my transparency to 50%, my saturation to 50%, and the contrast 50%. Once you print it, your colors will look kind of pale, but remember this material will shrink and that will make your colors look way too bright. And once you bring them over to Design Space, we can create an offset on each one. So here I'm just separating them, and once I apply my offset, I'll be making them much smaller. So let's select one and go up to offset. The offset will depend on how thick you want it to be. Personally, I like my offset to be 0.069. And now let's go into colors and change it to white. You can keep it a different color if you like. I prefer white. Select both images and now flatten it and resize it. I did do 2 shrink sheets to test to see how big I wanted my pins to be. So I do recommend that you make your pins smaller than 2 inches each. And from there, just repeat the same steps for each one. Select an image, create an offset, select both images, and then flatten and resize. Once you're done, select Make. You can save it as a project. In my case, I won't. And here we have them. They did come in on 2 sheets, but I arranged it to 1 sheet. Select Next. Select Send to Printer, and now choose the printer. I did keep the bleed on and selected System Dialog. Here I'm selecting Media and Quality to Best and Print. And select Done. My machine was not turned on, so I needed to turn it on. And there we have it. We are ready to print our sheet. In my case, I'll be printing 2 out. This is the first one, and here is the second one. As you can see, I added more to the second, and I resized it smaller. This shrink wrap will shrink 46%. And since I'll be doing pins, I don't want them to look too big. So let's place it on a mat. Don't forget to align the arrow on the top left side of your mat. To set base material, I will select Browse All Material. And on the search bar, I'll type in plastic. That is the setting I created testing this shrink wrap. But every machine is different, so you might have to do some test cuts. To cut this material out, you can use a cutting machine or you can use scissors. I also added more pressure. To create this setting, just go to Browse All Material, then Material Setting, scroll all the way down, and add a new material. The settings for this one is 310 pressure, 3 times the cut, 5-point blade. And that cut setting works perfect for my machine. Now to remove each one. Try to find an open spot so you can get your fingernail through it. Be very careful. Once you have your nail in there, just slide it very carefully all the way around. Just be very careful. This material tends to break easily. I will show you just this one and then I'll do the rest off of camera since it takes a little bit of time to make sure they don't break. So here I have a flattening tool and also this heat gun. And I'll be using this tin box to keep it in place. And now I'll do one by one. I'll start with the gingerbread cookie girl. I'll turn my heat gun on, make sure it's warm, and then I'll just aim it at the shrink. You can see it here shrinking. Now I wasn't too sure about using the small screwdriver. If you press too hard, it'll leave marks. Make sure while it's hot to flatten it. And this is how they turned out. As you can see, they are really small. So on fast mode, I'll just continue to do the same with the rest. And remember to flatten it while it's still hot, because once it gets cold, it will not flatten. The plastic tends to get hard right away. And make sure not to press it too hard, otherwise it'll leave marks. And here we have them. They turned out really cute. And the size is perfect. But I'm not done yet. I'll be coating it with some resin just to make it last longer. So let's bring in our UV resin. When you're working with resin, make sure to wear a mask and gloves. I'll be working on this parchment paper, and here are my supplies. I'll be using some UV resin. The smell on this is less toxic, so I'll put some on the candy cane, enough to kind of spread it around, but not too much. Once you have it on there, just spread it. Make sure to cover the whole top piece. Also make sure to get rid of the bubbles. Another thing I'll be using just to make sure I get rid of the bubbles is this lighter. This will get rid of any air bubbles the resin has. And just do the same steps with the rest. So I'll apply some UV resin, and then I'll make sure it spreads. And I'll use a lighter to get any air bubbles out. And lastly, I'll use a UV light. And after 30 seconds, it's ready. And lastly, I'll put some UV resin on the pins. This will make sure the pins don't come off. Just put a drop of UV resin on the pin and then place them under the lamp for 30 seconds. Be patient and don't touch them for a couple of hours so you don't get any fingerprints on them. So, if you watched to the end and you liked the video, don't forget to give us a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. See you on the next video. Bye bye.